procession of undergraduates is led by the Students' Marshal, Dr. Meniel Suri, the 2013 to 2016 recipient of the Presidential Teaching Professor Award and Professor of Mathematics and Statistics. The faculty and staff procession is led by the Faculty Marshal, Dr. Timothy Finan, the 2012 Presidential Research Professor and Professor of Computer Science and Electrical Engineering. He is joined by Staff Marshal Dr. Constance Pearson, the 2011 recipient of the Presidential Distinguished Staff Award for Professional Staff and Director of Institutional Research. The faculty, staff, and students marshals are carrying batons that the UMBC Alumni Association gave to the university in honor of our 40th anniversary in 2006. The platform party is led by the Grand Marshal, Dr. Kathleen Carroll, President of the Faculty Senate and Associate Professor of Economics. The Grand Marshal carries the University Mace, a symbol of presidential authority. Used only on formal academic occasions, it is carried in the procession immediately before the President. UMBC's Mace was commissioned by the Alumni Association for UMBC's 20th anniversary in 1986.
Welcome. The 62nd commencement exercises of the University of Maryland, Baltimore County are now in order. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem, sung by Ms. Alessandra Cantalupo, a sophomore who is a linguistics major in French and Russian. Ms. Cantalupo has been classically trained in voice and is honored to represent the music department. Gentlemen, please remove your hats or caps during the anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets ran clear, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Alessandra. That was just beautiful. Now I ask that everyone please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to introduce the president of UMBC, Dr. Freeman Rabowski. Who clearly needs no introduction. Serving 22 years as our president, Dr. Rabowski has brought tremendous energy and exceptional vision and leadership to this institution. He has worked tirelessly on our behalf, connecting the university with individuals, businesses, foundations, and agencies that have brought new resources to build and sustain distinctive programs in undergraduate education and undergraduate and graduate education and research. Dr. Rabowski.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Carroll. Would you all give Alessandra another hand for that wonderful rendition of the national anthem? She was excellent, just excellent. I am delighted to welcome all of you here today to today's commencement exercise. This dignified ceremony is very special to our students and their families and to all of us. And as we celebrate and honor our graduates, we ask that you handle yourselves accordingly and that you remain in the arena until the commencement is over. In addition to the students who are receiving bachelor's degrees today, our graduate students who completed their degree requirements for doctorates and master's degrees in a separate ceremony yesterday were very special. Earlier this morning, UMBC held another ceremony that recognized some of our very, very fine seniors who have just been inducted into Phi Beta Kappa. Would those graduates please stand? We also have students who were inducted earlier this month into Phi Kappa Phi, the oldest all-discipline honor society. Would those students please stand? And you will see students with red cords. The red cords signify that these students have a 4.0 average. Would those straight-A students please stand? Let's see how many we have. Not many, not bad. You know, it's a significant point to the faculty that a lot of places talk about grade inflation. Colleagues, it's very clear that we don't have any grade inflation. If you look back there, we're not that many with all A's. We are very proud of all of you. Students, I know that you realize that nothing is more important in our lives than our family members and our friends. And so I want all of the family members and friends to stand, and I want the graduates to applaud your mamas, your daddies, your grandparents, your uncles, and everybody else. All the family members stand. Give them all a round of applause. And now I'm going to ask my colleagues, the UMBC faculty and staff, to please stand. Graduates, let them know how much you appreciate them. And now let me acknowledge some of the people on the platform today. We have our vice president, as I call your groups, just everyone stand, vice presidents and deans of colleges and schools, members of the President's Council, the presidents of the campus senates, the presidential faculty and staff award recipients. Would you give them all a round of applause? I'd like to especially acknowledge our Dean of Engineering, Dean Warren DeVries, who will be returning to the faculty. He's done a fine job in this past 8 years. Warren, please stand. Please give him a round of applause, wherever he is. And I'm delighted to announce that one of his mentees and the chair of one of our departments is becoming the new dean, Dr. Julie Ross. You're here. Please stand, new dean. Stand up. Let them see you. Dr. Julie Ross. We're very proud of her. And now I'm delighted to introduce a young man who's very outstanding, who is a member of the Board of Regents, and he is the student representative on the Board of Regents. Samim Manazati is here to bring greetings on behalf of the board. Please welcome him.
Good afternoon. I'm delighted to join you and extend best wishes from the University System of Maryland on behalf of the Board of Regents today. It is an honor to share this occasion with President Freeman Hrabowski, who has done a tremendous job leading this campus. Under his guidance, UMBC has joined the ranks of the nation's very best public institutions. I am also pleased to share this day with your keynote speaker, Dr. Mary Schmidt Campbell, Dean of the Tisch School of the Arts at New York University. I look forward to her address. Most of all, it is an honor to be here to recognize and congratulate you, the graduating class of 2014. My pride in joining you today comes from two distinct yet interwoven areas. On the one hand, I'm pleased to join you in my capacity as the student regent with the University System of Maryland Board of Regents. As you may know, many university systems have a Board of Regents with no student representation whatsoever, let alone a full-time member. It is a tremendous privilege and an important duty to serve as the voice for the student population in this governing body. I take this obligation very seriously. The other source of pride here is I'm a fellow student in the USM. I know firsthand, or almost firsthand, I haven't graduated yet, the hard work and dedication it has taken each of you to reach this milestone. You and your friends and your family can all take a great deal of pride in what you've accomplished. Today you graduate from an institution recognized nationally and internationally for excellence. No matter what direction your life now takes, no matter what challenges you will next confront, know that your education here has prepared you well. Once again, congratulations to all of you, and know that the entire University System of Maryland family wishes you all the best in the years to come. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you very much. I'm now pleased to introduce our Provost and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Philip Rouse, who is a professor of physics and a wonderful human being. Dr. Rouse.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the scholarly community we call our UMBC, I extend my congratulations to our graduates. We had very high expectations when we welcomed you as a member of the UMBC community, and those expectations were based upon your promise as scholars. Today, we celebrate your fulfillment of that promise. You will join the tradition of UMBC alumni who, through their life's work, continue to advance our understanding of our own humanity, our democracy, the natural world that surrounds us, and most importantly, make a difference in the lives of others. Your diploma represents not just your academic achievement, but the friendships you formed, the faculty who nurtured you, and the family and friends who supported you and helped you arrive here today. So I hope you will see your achievement as emerging from within the context of a community that knows you and cares about you. Today, as you cross the commencement stage, you will step across both a symbolic and an actual threshold to enter into the next phase of your personal and professional journey. Like so many transitions in life, this may feel like a step from what is known to what is unknown, but be confident that you will be supported by a solid foundation built upon the preparation you have received here at UMBC. As your provost, I hope you will allow me to ask you one final question. And that question is, what principles and values will guide you throughout your professional and personal lives? This is an intensely personal question, and the answer does not come easily or in a moment. In fact, it's a question that requires a lifetime to answer. But my greatest hope is that your experience as a member of our community will have provided you with the opportunity to reflect upon the many values that we share together. Values such as excellence, commitment, hard work, inclusiveness, and a respect for the dignity of others. And perhaps the most important of these is integrity. In other words, putting your values into action. This is, of course, not easy or simple, but in the words of President Nelson Mandela, it always seems impossible until it is done. May you enjoy a life rich in the knowledge that each day your work and your relationships have truly made a difference. Congratulations.
My colleagues are accustomed to my saying after Dr. Rouse that if I had that British accent, I could raise so much more money. I really. Some of our graduates today are staff members at UMBC, or they are family members of staff members or faculty members, or they are family members of alumni. Would all those graduates in those categories please stand? Sons and daughters and other family members of staff and faculty, give them a hand, would you please? I would also like to recognize those students graduating today who are veterans and members of the military. Please stand so we can say thank you. Very nice. We have graduates today who have decided to become teachers. Would all of our future teachers please stand? We have graduates who've decided to become social workers. Would all of my social workers please stand? It's a big group. That's wonderful. Others of you are going to grad school and professional school. Others are going to jobs. Others are waiting to see what life holds. What I can tell you today is that I want you to savor this moment because your future will be very bright. I also now want to honor a very special person who cannot be with us today but is greatly missed. He was preparing to get a bachelor's in environmental sciences, and his wife will be walking across the stage for him. I want the family of Joseph Bundy to please stand. Joseph Bundy, who passed away just recently. With the whole family stand, let's give them a round of applause to honor Joseph Bundy. The family has generously founded the Joseph E. Bundy Memorial Scholarship for a junior or senior in good academic standing in environmental studies. Give them a hand for their generosity with that. I now want to introduce several people before introducing the valedictorian to give you examples of the excellence in this class, with every person having a story. Our first student is the first graduate of our new Undergraduate Cyber Scholars program. He interned at several companies and worked for DOD, and he has received over 11 offers already, and he's accepted a position in engineering as a cyber engineer with SI Government Solutions. Andrew Coates, would you please stand? Graduating in computer science. Okay. Our next student is receiving a bachelor's in business technology administration and has an amazing story. He began his UMBC studies in 1976, but he left to work full-time and then unfortunately lost most of his vision in 1980. And yet he resumed his work at the Community College of Baltimore County in 1999, received his associate's degree, came back to UMBC, was determined to get his bachelor's. He was scheduled to graduate this past May, but suffered a heart attack. He fell into a coma for 3 weeks, but he overcame all those obstacles and had to learn to walk again, and my goodness, Alan Arker is here today. Stand, Alan. Alan Arker, please stand. It's real. Really nice. Wow. You inspire us all. The next graduate is graduating as a Sondheim Scholar, majoring in both political science and mathematics, and has done training in the biological and mathematical sciences in an interdisciplinary program. He's worked in the Governor's Summer Internship Program at StateStack, and he has been focused on helping with efficiency in state government. But most important, he's been involved in an internship at Deloitte and has accepted a job there as a consultant. Taylor Good, please stand. We're very proud of you. Our next graduate has been very involved in working on behalf of students around the system. She served as the SGA Director of Community and Government Relations on our campus and has been an advocate for student needs at the state level, actually having testified to the Maryland General Assembly and having worked on helping to reduce textbook prices. She's a Sondheim Scholar graduating in political science. She's working as Director of Policy and Research for one of the Maryland State delegates and will continue this work. She's an amazing human being. Megan Carpenter, please stand. Bob and Teresa are very proud of you, as are we. Very proud of you, Megan Carpenter. Our next graduate is another great example of the power of perseverance and determination. As a single mom of two, she returned to school when she was 33. She graduated from the Community College of Baltimore County and became a licensed substance abuse counselor before coming to UMBC to study social work as a Charlotte Newcomb Scholar. She has worked tirelessly to build a better life for herself and her family while pursuing a career of public service. As a student, she has mentored young girls in the Waxter's Juvenile Facility in Laurel. After graduation, she will go on to the University of Maryland School of Social Work, and after receiving her MSW, plans to continue focusing on issues involving drug addiction. Melissa Hartman, please stand. You inspire us a great deal. Our next graduate represents our great student athletes, and he has been a cross-country and track person for the last 4 years. He's had internships from T. Rowe Price to NIH. He has majored in financial economics. He already has a job to start with as a financial analyst with AAI Corporation. Brandon McGee, please stand. We're very proud of you, Brandon. Very proud of you. Send me a check very soon, all right? Our next graduate is a Maryland Delegate Scholar and a member of Phi Beta Kappa. She was crowned Miss Baltimore in 2014 and won the Miss America Academic Award in 2012 and 2013. As Miss Baltimore, she has been inspirational in working to encourage Marylanders to alleviate poverty through volunteering and showing through her actions how important this is to her. Today, she graduates with a degree in interdisciplinary studies and cultural anthropology. She will begin a PhD in sociocultural anthropology at Harvard University this fall. Samantha, you are amazing. Samantha Hawkins, please stand. Our next graduate has completed advanced research at UMBC and top labs around the country, from NIH to MIT to Duke. He has presented his work at a number of conferences, both international and national, and has served as a recent panelist on a major STEM conference. He has been a leader with a group of those involved with Engineers Without Borders and traveled to Kenya to help establish a clean water supply for a local community. Today, he graduates in chemical engineering and is on his way to the MD PhD at Duke University. Dalton Hughes, please stand. Our next graduate is a Linehan Artist Scholar who has won multiple awards, including UMBC's Music Achievement Award and the Maryland State Department of Education's Teacher of Promise Award. She has worked with the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra's Orchids Music Program to help children from underserved communities transform their lives. She also teaches through her own established private music studio. Today, she's graduating with a degree in music. She plans to continue her work with the BSO and to teach music in a Baltimore public school. Would you please join me in congratulating Catherine Ramiz? Our next graduate is receiving her bachelor's in biochemistry and molecular biology and has gotten so many awards, can't begin to list them. I will say she did receive the Faculty Award for Excellence in Biochemistry. She is an amazing person who's done research both at the University of Maryland and the Johns Hopkins University Schools of Medicine. In the fall, she will begin an MD PhD at Washington University. Chinwendu Amazu, please stand. Chinwendu, very nice. We're very proud of you, very proud of you. And I would also like to recognize a student who's not able to be with us today, but he's in our thoughts. Thomas Fitzgerald is receiving a bachelor's in chemical engineering. He was in a very serious car accident in April and is still in the hospital. We are with him in spirit, and we wish him a speedy recovery. His parents and he are watching us through webcast, so I have a treat. I want everybody to start waving as much as you can to let him know, Thomas Fitzgerald, that we're thinking about him. Wave to him, everybody. Now let's give him a round of applause. Give him a round of applause. We're proud of you, Thomas. Get well and come and visit us. We are so proud of all of these students. The next person that I want to recognize would be two people who are getting special Fulbright scholarships, and I want them both to stand. It's both Josh Garrett and Coco Tane. One, the first going to England, Ancient Studies major to teach in Indonesia, Josh, and Coco, who will be going to Jordan to work with Syrian refugees. Coco and Josh, please stand. Give them both a round of applause. Fulbright scholars, Fulbright scholars. And so the challenge at UMBC is that we have so many students who are really at the top that you have all these finalists for the valedictorian position, and any one of them would be excellent. Let me give you the finalists. The first is a person who is receiving her bachelor's in cultural anthropology. She is a Sondheim Public Affairs Scholar and a member of Phi Beta Kappa. She organized an alternative spring break trip in Baltimore with the theme Through the Eyes of a Refugee, and is the co-creator of the Retriever Project, which won the SGA's Prove It contest involving innovation. She has worked with Baltimore City Citizens Planning and Housing Association, interned at Amnesty International USA through the Shattuck Family Program, and studied in Ecuador. She is an amazing person. Would you please join me in congratulating Kelsey Kroc? Kelsey. She is also the niece of our own Connie Pearson, Kelsey Kroc. And the next person is receiving degrees in political science and gender and women's studies, a Sondheim Public Affairs Scholar and a member of Phi Beta Kappa. She recently was named the top, quote, young gun in politics in the Baltimore suburbs. She was elected as a delegate to the Democratic National Convention in 2012 and has served as the president of the UMBC College Democrats. She studied abroad in France and Tunisia and served on the USM Student Council on tuition affordability. Before pursuing grad school, she's working as a campaign manager for a candidate in the Carroll County election. Caitlin Leiter Mason, would you please stand? Caitlin Leiter Mason, please stand. Very impressive, very impressive. And our next finalist is graduating in English with a bachelor's in English. Is not able to be here today, but she has a remarkable story, has done many wonderful things, but I'd simply want us to applaud Melissa Lomax. Please give her a round of applause. And the next is a Miles scholar who majored in biochemistry and has done amazing things, and I've already mentioned, and interestingly enough, has done something that's really fascinating. In addition to winning research awards in the sciences, she's also won the Malcolm Brady Poetry Award, and she received the Satterfield Award and won the English Department's Poetry Slam. So she's going to med school for the MD, PhD at Hopkins, but she's really good in poetry. Blossom Tewell, please stand. Very proud of you. Very proud of you. The poetic physician, we like that. And now I want you to know that you can hear about many more students on our website, umbc.edu, class of 2040/class of 2014, to hear many other stories because there's so many more. And finally, we get to the salutatorian and the valedictorian. Our salutatorian is receiving degrees in biology and philosophy. He is an amazing young man who has served as the president of the Mauhoff Council. He has conducted breast cancer research at University of Maryland, interned for 2 summers at MIT, is working on his 2nd research publication right now. He's a member of the UMBC Ethics Bowl. He has won 3 philosophy department student awards over the past 2 years, which is unprecedented. He will be attending the Harvard MIT MD PhD program. Quadro Owisu Boeti, please stand. Kojo, please stand. Kojo, we're very proud of you. Very proud of you. We expect big things. And now I'm delighted to introduce the valedictorian of the UMBC class of 2014. First of all, every one of you is a superstar. Give yourselves a hand. Every one of you is a superstar. If you graduated from UMBC, we know you're good, all right? And now the valedictorian of the class of 2014, who's graduating with degrees in psychology and political science, with minors in modern languages and linguistics, music, and legal policy. A Sondheim Public Affairs Scholar and a Truman Scholarship finalist, he has been a research assistant at the Maryland Psychiatric Research Center, UMBC Habits Lab, and the Maryland Department of Public Safety. And he interned with the U.S. Department of Justice and the Governor's Summer Internship Program. He studied abroad and volunteered in Chile, was active in musical theater and singing groups, and reestablished our mock trial team. He also volunteered with at-risk youth and adult immigrants in Baltimore. Along with valedictorian finalist Kelsey Kroc, he won the 2014 Student Innovation Competition for the Retriever Project. And most important, he is an amazing human being on his way to law school at UCLA. Please join me in congratulating and welcoming to the podium the 2014 valedictorian, Travis Bell.
Thank you, Dr. Rabowski. This ceremony allows us to look back at our time at UMBC. Since we'll always be UMBC Retrievers, I ask you to consider the question, what does it mean to be a UMBC Retriever? Each answer to that question has a story. So what's your answer? What's your story? Here's mine. Once upon a time, in a class at UMBC, fellow graduate Kelsey Kroc, some classmates, and I designed a project to create 3 retriever statues that artistically answered what it means to be a UMBC Retriever. After winning funding through the student government's Prove It Idea competition, we founded the Retriever Project. Then we ran a campus-wide statue design contest. A committee selected the 3 winning designs, and students painted the designs onto the statues. This past December, the 3 statues were installed on campus and have lived happily ever after. The end. Or perhaps not the end, because we hope UMBC students continue to create public art and grow the project into a UMBC tradition. The 3 current statues represent that UMBC Retrievers are diverse, academically innovative, and interdisciplinary. I'm going to share 3 of our fellow graduates' stories that bring to life those 3 values, and through telling their stories, I hope that we can consider our own UMBC stories. The first statue celebrates UMBC's cultural diversity, and the first story involves our salutatorian, Kojo Owusu Boaite, who embodies a deep appreciation for that diversity. At UMBC, Kojo spent his time mentoring minority students pursuing science. And one semester, Kojo helped teach at a biology course at UMBC. And in that class, there was this giant 6'5" guy named Jordan who sat in the back of the class making witty comments about Kojo. After a few classes, Kojo, standing at 5'7", decided that he had a fitting solution. Every time Kojo asked a difficult discussion question, he would call on Jordan. To Kojo's surprise, Jordan always had a fantastic answer. So at the end of the semester, Kojo invited Jordan to apply to do research, and Jordan did, and he was accepted into the same lab as Kojo. And while they were working together, the two became friends, bonding over their shared cultural and religious backgrounds. And then Kojo taught Jordan about research, but Jordan taught Kojo to see the bigger real-world applications of their research. And as a result of that lab experience, Jordan now plans to pursue a career in biological research. For Kojo, a UMBC retriever appreciates the diverse perspectives found within our UMBC community. The second statue, entitled Minds Unleashed, represents the idea that we are unleashed, innovative retrievers. Fellow graduate Emma Greger innovatively unleashed the minds of Latino youth for the past 4 years while participating in the UMBC Shriver Center's Service Learning Program. Most college students rise and shine around noon on Saturdays, but Emma woke up at 8 a.m. every Saturday morning to teach at a nonprofit organization in Baltimore City called Education-Based Latino Outreach, or EBLO. One day at EBLO, a 7-year-old girl named Cami told Emma, "Excuse me, you are very beautiful and you look like a princess." Cami liked princesses, but Emma's goal was to interest her in science. For Cami and others, science seemed about as cool as waking up at 8 a.m. on Saturdays does to college students. So Emma began to do fun science experiments with the students to motivate them. And one day, Emma told the students, "Today, we're going to be secret agents and write invisible messages to each other." And using grape juice as an acid and baking soda as a base, Emma taught the students chemistry. And when Cami saw her invisible messages begin to appear, her face lit up with excitement. She was excited that she could do science just like her teacher, Emma. If you ask Cami today what she wants to be when she grows up, she wouldn't say a princess or a secret agent. She'd say a scientist, rock star, astronaut. For Emma, a UMBC retriever seeks the lifelong goal of innovatively unleashing minds. The last statue celebrates the interdisciplinary education available at UMBC, with circles representing the arts and humanities and the bands around anatomically important parts of the body representing science and engineering. While working at her local Parks and Recreation dance camp, fellow graduate Mary Hester met a 9-year-old girl named Danielle who had never danced before. For Danielle, dance represented an emotional escape from a difficult home life. And unfortunately, the dance camp that Mary worked at lost its local government funding. But luckily, Mary found a dance studio for Danielle. In over 4 years, Danielle's confidence and passion for dance have grown dramatically. When Mary was a freshman at UMBC, she felt her passion for the arts and her goal to change public policy seemed incompatible. But then she was introduced to arts advocacy, in which art organizations advocate on behalf of other art organizations to change public policy regarding the arts. So Mary combined her interests and designed her own interdisciplinary major entitled Arts Advocacy. In her future career, Mary hopes to prevent other art programs like the dance camp from being defunded, so that, like Danielle, all students can embrace the arts. For Mary, a UMBC retriever appreciates the integrated, interdisciplinary nature of our world. Can Kelsey, Kojo, Emma, and Mary please stand and be recognized for your stories that show what it means to be a UMBC retriever? And now, class of 2014, please rise. Stand up, really. Let's celebrate that we are and will continue to be diverse, academically innovative, and interdisciplinary UMBC Retrievers. Congratulations.
Thank you, Travis. What Travis did that was so powerful was to say it's all about us, everyone here. Give him a round of applause for being so selfless. Really nice. Very nice. And I can tell you're ready to turn your tassels, but it's not time yet. Sit back down. Relax. Come on, Dr. Ross. Come on.
We will now confer our honorary degree. Dr. Mary Schmidt-Campbell, please rise. For over 35 years, Dr. Mary Schmidt-Campbell has been a leader in the cultural life of New York City. As the Dean of New York University's Tisch School of the Arts, Dr. Campbell brings an inclusive and entrepreneurial spirit to the arts, and we have great respect for her role in increasing diversity, collaboration, and innovation. At the Tisch School, she has fostered the creation of new fields of study, promoted collaboration across the disciplines, increased the diversity of the faculty and student body, and lowered financial barriers to a Tisch education. Prior to her appointment at New York University, Dean Schmidt-Campbell served as the Cultural Affairs Commissioner for New York City and the Executive Director at the Studio Museum in Harlem. The author of several books, she holds a BA from Swarthmore College and an MA and PhD in Humanities from Syracuse University. She has been recognized with so many awards, honors, and appointments that I can't mention them all here today. But we would like to recognize her service as Vice Chair of the United States President's Committee on the Arts and Humanities. We are proud today to honor Dr. Mary Schmidt-Campbell with an honorary Doctor of Fine Arts degree for her leadership in arts and culture and her outstanding achievements in arts education.
Now, therefore, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the state of Maryland and given to me by the Chancellor of the University System of Maryland, and upon the unanimous vote of the Board of Regents, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Fine Arts, honoris causa, together with all the rights and privileges thereunto pertaining. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Mary Schmidt-Campbell, who will present the Commencement Address 2014.
President Hrabowski, University of Maryland, Baltimore County faculty, administrators, and staff, families and friends, let's congratulate this spectacular class of 2014. They are unbelievable, extraordinary. Class of 2014, today marks one of the most important milestones in your life. And I'm deeply honored that I've been asked to share this occasion with you. You are very special. As graduates of the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, you will always and forever carry with you the UMBC reputation. Wherever you go, whatever you do, people will recognize you as someone who is smart, hardworking, and indefatigable in the pursuit of your life's goals. That's the reputation your university confers on you today. That's the reputation that your leader, Dr. Freeman Hrabowski, who's been president of UMBC for over 2 decades, has molded and shaped with the faculty, administration, and staff. For the past several years, I've had the privilege of getting to know your stellar leader, and through him, I've gotten to know about the outstanding work of this school. I was here on campus shortly before Thanksgiving of last year, where I was hosted by your president and his lovely wife, Jackie. And I was taken for a tour of the campus. Now, I'll tell you something. I've been on a lot of college campuses with a lot of college presidents, but I don't think I've ever been on a college tour with a president who knew the name of virtually every student he encountered. And it wasn't that he just knew your name. I mean, he knew what book you were reading or what your homework assignment was. It was really incredible. And he also knew, yes, please celebrate that. That is rare, truly rare. But I was also impressed that he knew your personal struggles and he knew your aspirations. And as we crisscrossed the campus, I met some of your stellar faculty members as well. Those faculty members, which as you well know, have made UMBC one of the highest ranking universities in the country in terms of teaching excellence. And what was striking to me that day as I talked to students and faculty and staff was that every single person in this community believes that UMBC is a community of possibility. Class of 2014, for the past several years, this community of possibility has been your home. You've been encouraged to see the world as an ocean of possibility that stretches in front of you vast and wide. And your education has armed you with the instruments that permit you to chart the longitude and latitude of your life voyage and to navigate that voyage with a sense of adventure and wonder. Now, I've listened to all of the stories of the graduates that were told today and last night, and it's clear that as you unmoor from the safe haven of this college, you leave knowing that you've mastered the art of thinking critically. You know how to ask the right questions. You're comfortable solving problems, working collaboratively, communicating complex ideas with clarity and passion. You've studied the arts and humanities, and you've been invited to think about the human condition. You can read meaning in stories, understand that truth can appear in a poem as authentically as it can in an algorithm. Everything about this school has been about framing a yes, framing every problem, every hurdle, every issue with what you can do. Yes is the fuel that propels you forward. And you might ask, forward into what kind of world? And this afternoon, I want to talk about just one aspect of that world, and that's change, and the creative advantages that will come of change. It's a lesson that I've learned as the dean of an art school, and I believe it holds the same lessons for you. Your world is restless with change. Change is occurring at a velocity that makes what was cutting edge yesterday obsolete today. Over the past 2 decades, the restless world has upended, in my school, virtually every artistic and academic discipline we have. It's caused our school to have to invent a half-dozen new programs and departments and radically rethink old ones. Now, I started as the dean of the Tisch School of the Arts back in 1991. And when I started, filmmakers at my school made movies exclusively on celluloid. And in order to edit a film, you had to physically splice the film stock on a large flatbed truck called a steam bed. Computer-based editing technology, what you or I can do on our laptops in our kitchen table today, was a completely foreign notion. Our photography students developed photographic images using a darkroom and a wet lab exclusively. The idea that in the future they would carry a telephone in their pocket or their handbag, let alone snap photos with their telephone and then instantly mail those photos all over the world to hundreds or thousands of people was unthinkable. And except for the savvy computer geeks in our interactive division, ITP is what we call it, no one in the School of the Arts even had a computer. As artists, they believed computers were the instruments of scientists in lab coats. 20 years ago, most of us had no clue that the world would soon be roiling with not just one, but successive waves of digital revolutions. Tidal waves of change would disrupt the way not only films are made and photographs taken, but the way choreographers construct, record, and archive dance. The way designers use computer-assisted design to conceptualize sets and costumes. The way music is constructed in a recording studio and distributed. The way we as scholars digitally access previously inaccessible archives. For my generation, change has often been unsettling and disruptive. But watching our students, I've come to realize over the years that change is just another one of their creative tools. Like our artists, you grew up surrounded by rapid change. You move from device to device, platform to platform, routinely learn new software upgrades without giving any of it much thought. You expect to communicate at a speed that often outpaces the ability to think, and as a result, you've developed a resilience, versatility, adaptability, and curiosity that lets you embrace change with a joyfulness and playfulness that is fundamentally different from other generations. You embrace change without the resistance and sentimental sense of nostalgia those of us from earlier generations often harbor. Change for you is not unsettling. It's the way of your world, your creative possibility. This is a brand new skill set. You are what I call the change generation. As the change generation, you will bring to old problems new ways of thinking about providing clean water, or tackling climate change, or working on intractable social issues like making quality education accessible to everyone, or making quality health care available worldwide. You will find ever more effective ways of being teachers, advocates, engineers, doctors, social workers to support populations that have no agency and no voice. And you will make us understand the problems of the voiceless in the films you make and make us hear the feelings we need to feel very deep in the music you compose. As the change generation, you will see global issues as creative opportunities. Rooted in your respective disciplines, you will recognize that global issues have no disciplinary boundaries. When the problem demands it, you'll be able to ignore traditional disciplinary boundaries. You'll be able to accept solutions from disciplines other than your own. And you'll be able to work on global teams and collaborative efforts that routinely stretch across thousands of miles of distance. Your comfort with change gives you a new tool, and when you combine it with the UMBC habit of mind of yes, and I can, and I will, and I must, that tool will be a powerful driver of your success. And I have no doubt that you will be successful. You are about to become citizens of the world. As world citizens, it will be up to you to confront not only the world's big problems, but to be a standard bearer for your UMBC values that have been so instrumental in shaping you. This UMBC community has been a community of taking responsibility for someone other than yourself, to own someone else's success. As a world citizen, maybe not at the outset, but at some point in your voyage, it will be up to you to make sure that the next generation has a shot at the seat that you occupy today. I sit on the President's Committee for the Arts and Humanities, and I do a lot of work with getting high-quality arts programs into K through 12 public schools. And I don't have to tell you that 50% of our young people drop out of high school, foreclosing all kinds of opportunity. You probably already know that. But what you may not know is that even among the highest performing students who do complete high school, a large percentage of those who are also low income do not even apply to college. And those who do apply and attend often do not attend a college like UMBC, a place that challenges them academically. and therefore a majority of them never complete a college degree. So just as you have a responsibility to your work and your career, remember that you have a responsibility to those who follow you as well. Citizens of the world, the changed generation, you are beginning what I know will be a long and productive voyage. You embark with possibility clinging to you. It radiates from you and lights up every room you enter. That possibility is a creative force, and as long as you will it to be so, it will propel you and the people around you to make right anything you set your mind to. Thank you, and good luck.
Students, I want you to remember those words about the UMBC habit of mind. I can, I must, I will. Let's say it together. I can, I must, I will. Give her another round of applause.
Will the candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Fine Arts, and Bachelor of Science please rise? Dr. Rabowski.
Dr. Rouse.
I have the honor of presenting the candidates recommended by the faculty of the University of Maryland, Baltimore County for the degrees of Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Fine Arts, and Bachelor of Science.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty and by the authority of the state of Maryland, given to the Board of Regents and the Chancellor of the University System of Maryland, and by them entrusted to me, I hereby admit you to the degrees which you have earned during the course of your studies at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, in token whereof you shall be given a diploma with all of the honors, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto pertaining.
Today, each graduate will receive a memento from the UMBC Alumni Association. Mr. Bennett Moe, President of the UMBC Alumni Association Board, will make the presentation on behalf of the association. Now will the candidates for Africana Studies, American Studies, and Ancient Studies please walk to the podium. The remaining candidates, please be seated until your row is escorted by the commencement staff. And please, we ask graduates and their families and friends to remain in the arena until the ceremony has been concluded. Our first reader is the Vice Provost for Faculty Affairs, Dr. Patrice McDermott.
Will the faculty in Africana Studies please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Jaquan Marchese. Will the faculty in American Studies please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Bonnie Sue Bowen, magna cum laude. Jennifer Zhang-Mei Herzog. Hannah Holloman. Dustin Francis Roddy. Jenny Williams, magna cum laude. Will the faculty in Ancient Studies please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Heather Birch. Dylan DeSalvo, magna cum laude. Joshua Garrett, summa cum laude. Molly Greenhouse, cum laude. Will the faculty in Asian Studies please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Kevin Bennett. Will the faculty in Dance please stand while I read the names of your graduate? Hilary DeVos. Mary Hester, magna cum laude. Kate Hunsicker, summa cum laude. Elizabeth Quinones, magna cum laude. Callison Sims. Will the faculty in Economics please stand while I read the names of your graduate? Laura Elizabeth Balick, cum laude. Claire Leanne Barron. Albert Francis Bastian, Kyle Benzecki, Carlos Canchasto Arce, Stephen Carruth, Alex Junyun Chen, Sarah Chen, Chinwei Chezor, Marianne Alexandra Covert, magna cum laude, Edward Day Gent, Marianne Fatima, cum laude, Joseph Fleshman, Jeremy A. German, Richard M. Gill, Robert J. Kramer, Breck G. Hagos, Owen M. Hart, Timothy P. Harvey, magna cum laude, Sean A. Hawking, Richie T. Jang, Kenneth H. Jung, Lisa Kang, Kian M. Larijani, cum laude, Dong Jun Lee, Hyung Young Lee, Jae Un Lee, Zahao Lu, Aman Magun, Brandon Paul McGee, David H. Murray, magna cum laude, Diana Nguyen, cum laude, Omatara Ogunbiyi, Eric Olthorf, Sabrina Palm, summa cum laude, David Musang Park, Melissa A. Peary, John G. Peters, Brian E. Pink, Kyle D. Pullen, Andrea Requejo, Jim Jackson Rosario, Kyron Richardson, Anik Jehandra Shah, Sedu Sambola, Raymond B. Sangenda, Sean C. Park, Josephine Ava Strand Janssen, Jun Young Park, Hamza Siddiqui, Sean M. Simpson, Stephanie A. Zong, William R. Stott, Kohei Tanabe, Mahama Tunkara, Venkara Ramana Vishwanda, Lu Wang, Lily Q. Wu cum laude, Kevin Young, Zhang M. Yoon, Hosen Zhu. Will the faculty in Emergency Health Services please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Mohammed Alagil, Fahad Abdullah Ajubar, Kahil Rashid Al-Mutahari, Alexander Harbitz, Michael L. Miller Jr., Christine Walker. Our next reader will be Dr. Carl Steiner, Vice President for Research. Thank you.
Will the faculty in English please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Christine Alvarez Flynn, cum laude. Samantha Androsky, cum laude. Tasha Batson, cum laude. Jacqueline Benson. Stephanie Bertrand, magna cum laude. Lester Charles. Benjamin Cook, cum laude. Brittany Nicole Dillard, cum laude. Laura Easter. Elizabeth Forney, cum laude. Anna Fraze. Kirsten Danielle Gittens. Callista Hogan. Jackson Hobart. Joel Huna, summa cum laude. Jacob Kilishevsky. Jason Kim. Daria Kuznetskova. Katarina Linkalis, magna cum laude. Susan Lunn. Sarah Malish. Jen McCann. Eric McCullen. John Morin. Cullen Bryce Olive. Jesse Orsburn, cum laude. Jung Hoon Park. Krista Alejandrina Pai. Eleanor Elizabeth Philman. Mary Quinn. Priyanka Sophie Raj. Jason Robbins. Samuel Rosenberg. Vanessa Reda, cum laude. Gagan Singh. Amanda Sockrider. Craig Steinman. Sarah Webb. Will the faculty in Gender and Women's Studies please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Libby Barrow, summa cum laude. Ray Dawn Gilliam. Susanna Hintz. Caitlin Mason, summa cum laude. Will the faculty in Geography and Environmental Systems please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Abdullah Matar Al-Nayadi, Michael J. Busby, Sonia Cardenas, Evan Carey, Hallie Carter, Christina Siri, Robert Crouch, Susanna Elizabeth Davis, Ryan Michael Garvis, George Harley, cum laude, Garrett Hopkins, Jillian Lee Lander, Noel Landers, Patrick Francis Lashir, Hannah Lieberg, cum laude, Daniel Levy, Kayla Mason, Patrice Matthews, magna cum laude, Kirsten McGovern, summa cum laude, Galen Milligan, magna cum laude, Joseph Milligan, summa cum laude, Molly Newton, magna cum laude, Edrin Dixon Ojo, Stephen Pierce, Kevin Repa, James Rush, Miriam Ripchinsky, Victoria Sheridan, Timothy Andrew Smith, Cynthia Ward, cum laude, Lindsay Wilson, and we have Joseph Bundy, who is awarded posthumously and represented by his wife, Mrs. Leslie Bundy. Our next reader will be Dr. Scott Casper, the Dean of the College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences.
Will the faculty in Global Studies please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Paul N. Weisco, magna cum laude. Will the faculty in Health Administration and Policy please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Noor El Abdel Rahman, Mojisola F. Adalea, Ama Asamoah, Avaikamo Edwina Eleman, Farzeen Feroza Bhavnagari, Wing Tizi Bui, Kathia Muriel Castillo, cum laude, Victoria Celia Castillo, Molly Coates, Nicole Charlo Connor, Kaylee Dean, Sarah Demiki, Marliatu Diallo, Luigi Luca Durende, Bria T. Erdoui, Brandon Alexander Fritz, cum laude, Christine Galli, summa cum laude, Christine Garcia, Amy R. Gogan, summa cum laude, Miskat Hossein, Trevor Shu, cum laude, Jamie Jagers, Zainul Abedin Jallo, Kirsten Elise Jones, Nicole Johnson, Colleen Keene, Megan N. Kellner, summa cum laude, Regma Hamida Khan, Rachel Sukyum Kim, cum laude, Sarah M. Kuznier, summa cum laude, Rachel Ann Lancaster, Jessica Lee, cum laude, Brian Limecooler, Sejal Mendpara, Lavone Murray Coyer, Marlissa Myers, George N. Naike, Rhoda N. Ngari, Anthony B. Nuan, Tosin Ogunsiakan, magna cum laude, Francis Chiogo Omen Ankiti, Jennifer Lynn Opitz, Nicole Thuong V. Fan, Trey Proctor, Gretchen Quitilis, Sammy Samir Rob, An Nabil Raze, Danielle Rihan, Carlin B. Rubin, summa cum laude, Becca M. Scharf, cum laude, Candy Michelle Smith-Kimani, magna cum laude. Sohail Sultani Nia. Ronique Tafi, cum laude. Lisa M. Toby, cum laude. Michelle R. Wethington. Hannah Marie Wiper. Will the faculty in history please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Marissa Altabelli, Marlon I. Argueta, Celso Baldivieso, summa cum laude, Lindsay O. Bales, Shayna Arlene Callahan, George Charalambopoulos, Andrew S. Clements, Sean C. Conway, Kelly L. Dotridge, cum laude, Samantha Engel, Kathleen Foster, magna cum laude, David Christian Foy, Emily Lou Frazee, magna cum laude, Jeremy Lee Fryer, Elizabeth L. Fulda, Jamila Pamela Hayes, Andrew Benjamin Hellerstein, James Edward Ireland, Gregory S. Clock, summa cum laude, Abigail L. Matthews, cum laude, Bethany M. McGraw, Alexis D. McIntyre, Leslie McNamara, Matthew McNay, Brandon Moy, Reed Logan Neuendorf, Allison Norris, magna cum laude, Brooke E. Prince, magna cum laude, Rachel Corinage Retaliata, magna cum laude, Andrea Romeo, Kenneth R. Sable, magna cum laude, Lauren K. Scott, Quentin Alexander Stearns, Michael Stone, William D. Weeks, magna cum laude, Anna E. Weil, Benjamin Joel Whitford, Lenore A. Wilson. Will the faculty in Media and Communication Studies please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Allison Francis Beaudoin, Stephen P. Bautista, Matthew Keith Brookie, Travis John Cahill, Sean Robert Cooper, Russell K. Corbett, Maria Elizabeth Del Rosario, Allison L. Shoila, magna cum laude, Will M. Fegis, Nia N. Hampton, Jessica Maria Hoffmeister, Melissa A. Home, Jessica L. Horst, Michael A. Johnson, Catherine H. Kim, Shannon Kim, Leslie Bernadette Kroll, Karen Yun Ting Law, Christian Franklin Levroni, Kayla Nicole Martinez, Madeline Ann McDowell, Mallory McIntyre, Tobias Esua Mensah, Douglas James Miller, cum laude, Ashley Marie Myers, Benjamin J. Palmer, Clara Pavelkova, Chase Donovan Plummer, Katrina V. Rivera, Francisco Robinson, Daniel J. Rotundo, cum laude, Michael Garrett Schmidt, Teresa Elizabeth Seiss, cum laude, Stephanie B. Smith, Candace Joy Y. Soon, magna cum laude, Brandon Spells, Brianni Williams, Emily Elizabeth Witzeman, Kaylee Zielinski, Talon A. Zinger. Our next reader will be Dr. Yvette Mosey Ross, Vice Provost for Enrollment Management and Planning. Thank you.
Will the faculty in Modern Languages, Linguistics, and Intercultural Communications please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Anna Igorevna Artepova, cum laude, Yuduska Natalia Ceballos, Evelyn M. Diadu, Andrea N. Duval, magna cum laude, Lynette F. Gonzalez, Alexandra P. Greaves, cum laude, Kelly E. Hanlon, summa cum laude, Felix Eduardo Hernandez, Quentin M. Jones, William J. Klotz, Brittany Morgan Cressell, Cullen Lee Robert McLennan, Christopher Scott McKinnon, Hillary R. Renges, magna cum laude, Demarius R. Seymour, magna cum laude, Chelsea M. Chouse, magna cum laude, Sean Thomas Stenson, summa cum laude. Elizabeth Turner, magna cum laude. Will the faculty in music please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Eugene Vernell Dorestall, magna cum laude. Scott Holt, Harry Leon June, Eric S. Kuhn, cum laude. Matthew J. Martin, Max Robeson, Shane Stanton, magna cum laude. Catherine D. Ramos, summa cum laude. Alexander Tregart. Will the faculty in philosophy please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Navanya N. Campos, Christopher W. Cullen, Nancy Young Jeffries, cum laude. Kwajo E. Owasu Boeti, summa cum laude. Kalandra E. Smith, Boris N. Tisenberg, cum laude. Christopher L. Winger, magna cum laude. Will the faculty in political science please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Naftali Ami Abang, Marlena Ambramowitz, magna cum laude. Michael B. Ball, Travis A. Bell, summa cum laude. Don O. Burks, Edward P. Burrows, Matthew Robert Carney, Megan A. Carpenter, magna cum laude. Marilyn Callejas, Kevin Chen, Edward Cho, Kenny Chun, Michael P. Collins Jr., summa cum laude. William T. Crow, Taisha Rashay Dendy, Sean Donatello, Michael Russell Eisenberg, Kwame Emmanuel, Timothy J. Ingers, Juan C. Esparza, Gabriel Antonio Fridigado, Sarah Ashley Gross, Carolyn Jean Hayden, Dwayne Christian Hilaire, Quinn Shaw Hunsinger, Elliot L. Johnson, Natalie Kristen Kanzler, Ovais Khan, Shalja Khanna, Noah J. Kim, cum laude, Nicole Patricia Layton, Matthew Todd Littlejohn, Lauren A. Lahaki, magna cum laude, Faye M. Mofer, Priyanka Mukim, Carlos Benjamin Moya, Andrew O. Niacho, Toby F. Onyekwele, Nicholas M. Paradis, magna cum laude, Philip D. Poe, Isha Singh, Katrina L. Smith, magna cum laude, Erica Sarak, Kay Tang, cum laude, Sudi T. Tassisa, Vadam Sivadio. Our next reader will be Ms. Lynn Schaefer, Vice President for Administration and Finance.
Will the faculty in psychology please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Deborah Adalola, Mojisola Ajunaku, Nu Algirati, Chelsea C. Alderman, Brittany E. Allen, cum laude, Christy Amanda Allison, cum laude, Nicholas C. Allison, magna cum laude, Catherine E. Anzalone, Ibrahim Lee Abdullahim Arnaud, Robert Shackney Atkinson, Sarah A. Awad, Sydney Janae Baker, Greta Ellen Barley, Catherine Marie Beck, Kristen M. Bilney, Eileen Botrell, Nina M. Boyd, Sylvia Bobby Brandenburg, Scott Burtnick, magna cum laude, Gracie Calvin, summa cum laude, Shalina Lilinette Campos, Kim Kasimbone, magna cum laude, Linda M. Cerna, Sun Ah Choi, Christina Chaco, Caitlin Healy Chance, Erica I. Chow, Brandon Y. Chen, Cho Fung Chim, summa cum laude. Angela S. Cho. Jin James Cho. Samantha Jo Collins. Patricia M. Cooper. Nicole Coppola, cum laude. Heidi Jonna Maria Danielson. Bashan J. Davis. Alexander Ali Dehoff. Adrian Denise Dean. Brian A. Dudley. Daniel B. Duffin. Janet Louise Eisenman, summa cum laude. Valerie Nizelle Equog. Sarah E. Elias. Faith N. Evans. Stephanie R. Ezekiel. Davis C. Falcon. Michael Fell, magna cum laude. Megan McFadden Ferkler. Noah Michael Fields. Kristen R. Ford. Dana Fusco. Rebecca M. Garrigues. Colleen E. George. Benjamin Gershowitz, magna cum laude. Alexandra Stephanie Gok. Julie Gulpinar. Caitlin M. Golden, magna cum laude. Deepika Pramraj Gaur. Hannah Hedrick Gujar, magna cum laude. Human Hafez Soliman Zadeh. Bethany G. Hale, cum laude. Patricia Halberg, magna cum laude. Katie Lynn Hasselberg. Nicholas Andrew Hero, cum laude. Richard Patrick Hooling. Polly F. Ingram. Taija Monet Jackson, magna cum laude. Matthew Jardaleza. Noor Javed. Tia Jane Johnson. Sunhee Jung. Lauren N. Cadet, cum laude. Imesha Nisale Kalansuria. Alexis Marie Kyle. Jeff Hyun Kim. Courtney Faye Kinnear, magna cum laude. Maratu Quintilan. Thomas E. Nebel. Valerie Curry, cum laude. Nicole Laird. Mary Catherine Logeson, summa cum laude. Charles D. Lee. Shannon Maria Leroy. Julianne Marie Magnuson. Soma Mandal, cum laude. Corbin P. McCarran, magna cum laude. Aaron B. McGuire, cum laude. Amanda Gale McIntyre. Chelsea R. Meh, cum laude. Lucretia M. Middleton. Raquel Minka. George W. Morris. Jenna Sue Myers. Lauren Denise Neeson. Vanessa Negron. Bradley T. Nguyen. Pho Nguyen. Stephanie Jane Okpara. Nicole M. Parrish. Timothy A. Perkins, cum laude. Julia Camille Amon Petra. David N. Pierce, cum laude. Jessica I. Pinion, magna cum laude. Michaela Taylor Poole, magna cum laude. Megan M. Powell, magna cum laude. Shaked Ram, magna cum laude. Lindsay Amanda Ray, summa cum laude. Casey A. Rezek, cum laude. Emma E. Rivera. Sarah K. Roberts, magna cum laude. Angel L. Robinson. Nia Rodney. Brett E. Roseborough. Corey Alexandra Rutan. Peter M. Salama. Aaron Lamar Samuels. Kayla Christina Sanders. Mary Kate Sanders, magna cum laude. Asia S. Sessions. Lorena D. Segovia. Shelby L. Schock. Kathleen T. Schaefer. Morgan Simmons. Leah Nicole Smith. Sharelle Spence. Kirsten M. Spence. Jerica Lynn Stanley. Emily Lorraine Stanton. Brittany L. Stavropoulos. Jocelyn L. Stevens, magna cum laude. Zachary Steinley. Matthew Lawrence Stinchcomb, cum laude. Shatara Sonyet Swinson, Ruda Tekla Braham, Liz S. Tonley Mafadong, Leilani Vitusagavulu, Tracy Tsao, Ariel R. Tyson, Room H. Vahora, Emily Elizabeth Vandergriff, Kathy Vu, cum laude, Don Earl Keisha Maria Wallace, Anna J. Ward, Bianca West, summa cum laude, Justin Whiteman, Jasmine Blair Williams, Natalie Rebecca Williams, Gina Wong, Elizabeth R. Young, cum laude, Mia D. Zimnick, Ariane Zodi. Our next reader will be Dr. Janet Rutledge, Vice Provost and Dean of the Graduate School.
Will the faculty in sociology and anthropology please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Rafiat O. Abduali, Stephen Andres Aquino, Kevin Robert Arsenault, Caitlin C. Bozeman, cum laude, Everest Chakraborty, Alexa Gianna de Crispino, Craig Anthony Fraser, Rachel Naomi Green, summa cum laude, Rachel Y. Hall, Grace S. Hahn, Makalini S. Essert, Emily Harris, Samantha D. Hawkins, magna cum laude, Jerry Shull Hyatt, Kyla Ashley Hines, Jean Hopewell, Summer E. Jenkins, Dimitri Michael Jordan, Jenna Patrice Jones, Delan N. Karagala, Kelsey M. Crotch, summa cum laude, Thomas C. Liu, Rungraj Madayung, Melissa Colleen Morris, cum laude, Stephen C. Murcia, David Johan Park, Sung Young Pak, Julian V. Paul, magna cum laude, Mona N. Rashidi, Raymond Earl Stinsman, Mark Ian Tasker, cum laude. Will the faculty in theater please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Jessica Harris, Zachary K. Neal, magna cum laude, Alyssa D. Nolte, Diane C. Scrame, cum laude, Catherine Schuster, cum laude, Kristen Marie Wright. Will the faculty in visual arts please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Edward L. Adams, Samuel A. Apata, Kyle Baker, James L. Bernhard, Haeja Billy, magna cum laude, Callie M. Bonacorsi, cum laude, Chris J. Carlson, Melissa J. Caraway, Alyssa M. Castellano, cum laude, Francesca Cerquetti, magna cum laude, Reshma P. Crawford, cum laude, Russell R. Chang, Lindsay Dransfield, cum laude, Jake Duong, Deborah Firestone, summa cum laude, Max Gegler, Andrew M. Gallagher, magna cum laude, Kirsten M. Green, Dion Keenan Griffin, Barack Gundogan, Catherine Y. Harper, magna cum laude, Scott W. Hopman, Annette L. Horan, cum laude, Sigrun E. Kalachan, Farah M. Khan, magna cum laude, Sarah Kick, magna cum laude, Amanda M. Knight, magna cum laude, Pamela Koch, Nicole L. Katachwil, Patrick T. Krupkowski, Sander D. LeBeau, Tara S. Lichtenstein, Johnny Luong, Stephen S. McAllister, cum laude, Morgan L. Montel, magna cum laude, Charles Mason III, Horton J. McCormick, Joseph S. McElroy, Matthew L. Moore, Catherine Ann Morris, magna cum laude, Alex Roy Neese, Trung D. Nguyen, Aboshowa Abem Miata, Brianna Page, magna cum laude, Heather Perry, Stephen Scott Phillips, William Prinn, Marissa Regalin, magna cum laude, Marcus Franciscus Relacion, Erica Ann Ronning, Rabia Samuala, Jonathan J. Shoup, Sarah Elizabeth Sheehan, Kirsten Mary Sisson, Brittany Smith, cum laude, Kimberly Ann Steele, Bailey E. Strain, Shelby Earl Taylor, Aaron M. Williams, cum laude, A.J. Williamson, Ann Elizabeth Zamudio, Komal Zera, cum laude. Will the faculty in biochemistry and molecular biology please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Theophilus O. Abba, Kathleen O. Adeshoga, cum laude, Chinwendu L. Amazu, summa cum laude, Kofi Amadaji, Ifilua D. Adekanye, Nicholas Michael Barnett, Hassan Shan Bashir, Timothy M. Brunner, Nadine Booker, Calvin Chang, Young D. Cho, Amy E. Connor, magna cum laude, Kwame Doe, Alexander Emanuele, Barima Frempong, Trent W. Gabriel, cum laude, Daniel Zachary Haas, cum laude, James T. Hahn, cum laude, Manu Helarawa, Bobby W. Kwan, Kendra Vincia Johnson, cum laude, Marlene Kenshia Conchko, summa cum laude, Angela B. Kumson, Jacob N. Cott, cum laude, Michael Lampier, Brian A. Lowry, Lauren E. Mosier, Linda Annette Ngo Kobga Mbianda, Kwo Din Nguyen, Mofo P. Falua A. Abadina, Uchenna C. Okoro, magna cum laude, Fabian Edefili Omankiti, Royce Oniimba, cum laude, Kelly Pham, summa cum laude, Joseph S. L. Posner, summa cum laude, Monica Page Pruitt, Stephen R. Reckard, Yura Ree, summa cum laude, Amy Riskala, Sarah Y. Rowe, Johan Rotla, Ian Schaefer, Julie A. Shiron, Yabsira Gebeyehu Tamire, cum laude, Blossom Z. Tuwalde, Patricia T. Timmy, Kim Bao Trin, Olga Vaganova, Netsanet H. Woldegerima, Nahome H. Yabasu, Charles D. Ye, magna cum laude, Brandon R. Yen. Will the faculty in bioinformatics and computational biology please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Arug Akhil, Veer M. Gariwala, cum laude, Rahashri Mishra, cum laude, Gregory Robinson, Kirsten A. Solis,
Our next reader will be Dr. William LaCourse, Dean of the College of Natural and Mathematical Sciences. Thank you.
Will the faculty in biological sciences please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Thomas P. Abraham, Alyssa Adams, Samira Afzali, Manez Ahmadi, Saida S. Akhtar, Ayman Alcazaz, Julian Alston, Jordan Bader, cum laude, Ionis Bailanos, magna cum laude, Ali H. Balak, Ademoya Bologna, Osama Banali, cum laude, Sonam K. Bhatti, Shika Betwal, Rebecca Biada Bibam, Kabir Denise Bisram, William Allen Blankenship, Alicia L. Borowski, Naomi Brewer, cum laude, John Kwok Bowie, Matthew Burns, Ferdy Joshua Calderon Macasco, Sarah A. Campbell, magna cum laude, Monique Oblon Catalan, Evelina Sebatari, Yashak Chang, cum laude, Dayan Chin, Harsane Chinasazmi, Hareen Cho, Hayung Cho, Eric Y. Cho, Joy Cho, Marisis I. Chiwara, cum laude, Peter M. Sioloka, cum laude, Brianna D. Claggett, Lisa M. Clearfield, Sergey Kostanas, magna cum laude, Karis E. Krohn, cum laude, Yasmin E. Das, Priya Devi, Mary F. Deskins, Melissa C. Domingo, Janet Fong Dong, Christine B. Doherty, cum laude, Vai Tai Dong, magna cum laude, Elizabeth Alexandra Eckel, Chimdi Onyakachi Io Oswala, Kasarachi Catherine Aluva, Jessica Marie Fitch, Boniface Fonquo Zumafar, Mobalaji A. Fawazi, cum laude, Brea P. Fuller, Christy Fury, Diona M. Gamble, Wei Gao, magna cum laude, Heather Jogson, cum laude, Benash Gazanfar, Blend P. Gurmi, cum laude, Rebecca P. Glatfelter, magna cum laude, Andrew K. Goodwin, cum laude, Naga Ravali Govardhan, Emma C. Gregor, cum laude, Anna Alexandrovna Gritnotsinya, Quang Nun Ha, magna cum laude, Woburn Han, Worim Han, cum laude, Aris J. Hancock, Hashani Heterachi, Denise R. Hayden, cum laude, Timothy H. Ho, magna cum laude, Carmela M. Holt, Agnes Hong, Eric D. Hong, Shelley Nguyen, Min Wee Wang, magna cum laude, Jesse A. Johnson, magna cum laude, Margaret A. Kemper, Mutsasam M. Khan, Zulkarnain Khan, magna cum laude, Pratishta Khanna, Fuad A. Khoury, Amy Y. Kim, Emmanuel Kim, Jonathan J. Kim, Krista Knott, Kenneth A. Krewald, Owen Kwok, summa cum laude, Jean Y. Kwan, Mary Lay, Jennifer Rachel Lenore, Dao Lee, Wulem Lee, cum laude, Deborah Lay, magna cum laude, Dana Lee Lewis, cum laude, Rita Malu, magna cum laude, Andrew H. Liem, Mentang Lee, Wendy Mao, summa cum laude, Zachary J. Margulis, magna cum laude, Yasher Mateen, cum laude, Sabrina S. Matthew, magna cum laude, Laiba Masood, Bushra Sadif Mahmood, Manmei Mehta, cum laude, Cody L. Mespas, Anthony V. Mignini, Jinkle Modi, Lucita A. Moloch, Ki Y. Moon, Christopher Nome, Teresa LaJoy Nance, Edna Patrice Nanendu, Ashaki N. Nahisi, Trung Viet Nguyen, Ihama Aijuku, Yu Jong Oh, Joyce O'Heary, magna cum laude, Osei Oj Okeje, magna cum laude, Ashley Omarube, cum laude, Leon A. Osborne, Julie Ostraskalia, Joseph Otmegzween, Alicia L. Panicella, Kush Asak Patel, Ulawa Toby M. Paul, cum laude, Stephanie Pavlovsky, Sapubenya Peak, cum laude, Barbara N. Pear, Frederick Simone E. Pierre Lewis, Samuel P. Pillar, Manachu Podol, Bonita H. Powell, Quet Noel Cuarte, Caitlin Quinn, Efreen Qureshi, Mesha Nasim Qureshi, Vibra S. Rao, magna cum laude, Nicholas C. Reneke, Jorge Reyes, Naomi Rojas, cum laude, Suzette S. Rosario, Adam T. Rebezinski, Ian Sankar, Erica Lynn Schmidt, Laura M. Seidman, summa cum laude, Brian C.O., Maham F. Shah, Parth A. Shah, cum laude, Nayan R. Shrethna, Wala I. Sidki, cum laude, Sierra J. Simpkins, cum laude, Truptipan G. Cindy, Nicholas Z. Smith, Samantha E. Spear, Timothy Michael Spurrier, Jason A. Sumter, magna cum laude, Rafa M. Saeed, Sue Jane Tan, cum laude, Soweto H. Thomas, Jocelyn C. Threet, Calvin D. Tran, magna cum laude, Matthew Tran, Tha Long Gilbert Tran, Tu H. Treong, Kelly N. Turner, summa cum laude, Arthur Edward Vale, cum laude, Megan D. Welsh, cum laude, Charles A. Wout, summa cum laude, Brandon Williams, M. De Wolde, Krithri Yalagada, magna cum laude, Jingding Zingzi Zhang, summa cum laude, Azadine Salam Zatari, cum laude, Anum Zaidi, Jessica Zaruba. Our next reader will be Mr. Jack Seuss, Vice President for Information Technology and Chief Information Officer.
Will the faculty in chemistry please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Adiye Odeyo, Rebecca O. Akinlo-Suto, John Taylor Chavez, magna cum laude, Stephen Day Deckermanje, Tommy Eldridge, Griffin T. Gardella, cum laude, Valentine C. Hansen, Aaron S. Helms, Patrick D. Hicksonball, Scott L. Johnson, cum laude, Samuel J. Opeka, Keter M. Perkins, cum laude, Romeo L. Portillo, Ryan T. Price, Nicole R. Ryan, cum laude, Kristen Sanchez, James B. Taylor, magna cum laude, Drew Thatcher, magna cum laude, Amara B. Tola, Joyce H. Yoon. Will the faculty in mathematics and statistics please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Carrie Ann E. Allen, Matthew Brewster, Catherine N. Bloomer, Megan K. Callan, Jordan M. Coffey, Howard Eugene Davis, cum laude, Esong Amin Difang, Mamadou Diallo, K. Dong, cum laude, Francio Everett, Arissimo Yo Beme E. Gokhan, Blair C. Fitchu, Michael T. Fornero, Andreas Gegalas, summa cum laude, Taylor John Good, magna cum laude, Jeremy Joseph Gosnell, Lauren B. Haynes, cum laude, Aaron Hammerla, magna cum laude, Marisa D. Jaworski, Aaron M. Leta, Kareem M. Mansour, Hunter McCauley, Deepak Kumar Mishra, Jonathan Mugunga, Molly Beth Parker. Donald Brian Richardson, magna cum laude. Alexander C. Schwarzenberg, magna cum laude. Luke E. Seppi, magna cum laude. Caleb T. Simmons. Rebecca M. Voltz, cum laude. Guillermo Wagner. Joseph Yu. Will the faculty in physics please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Gianna Afrin. Kim Vanessa Berghaus, magna cum laude. Stephen N. Buckner. Matthew L. Davis. James C. Howyer. Thomas O. Kolaric. Brent A. McBride, cum laude. Carlos K. Mehta. Timothy Scott Pillsbury, summa cum laude. Muhed Shaman Rana, magna cum laude. Jesse L. Sheldon. Nathan D. Smith, magna cum laude. Will the faculty in chemical engineering please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Rima Simone Abuzad. James Philip Avery, cum laude. Rajiv R. Bharati. Lauren C. Blevins. Madison E. Bondock, cum laude. Ethan S. Bright. Samantha M. Selmer. David Dye. John Escadar. Sean M. Hopper, cum laude. Dalton Hughes, cum laude. Thomas M. Keem, magna cum laude. Adnan Kortukovic. Sean S. Sheminsky. Anthony Brooks Mara. Thomas A. Nehring. Adusawa Usoka Nakasari, summa cum laude. Anuj Seja. Joseph M. Shiflett, magna cum laude. Sebastian J. Snowberger, cum laude. Ebony Guita Ure Tango, cum laude. Joshua Welk. Our next reader will be Dr. Antonio Morera, Vice Provost for Academic Affairs.
Will faculty in computer science and electrical engineering please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Logan H. Adams, cum laude. Michael Berlin, magna cum laude. Scott L. Bryan, magna cum laude. Michael J. Capasso, cum laude. Andrew Coates, cum laude. Dustin R. Doloff, cum laude. Ranjit P. Doraswamy. Ilya Danin. James M. Elmendorf. Kitra Gadwal. Sheriff A. Gay. Hamed A. Garib. Heidi Gray. Stephen Patrick Hart, cum laude. Mark M. Henkel. Nathan J. Hartman. Zachary R. Hisley. Sean Hoover. Christopher D. Howie. Walter Irwin Hubbard II. Jameson Hess Hyman. Robert K. Jackson, cum laude. Nicholas J. Jankas. Ryan Christopher Jenkins. Chelsea L. Johnson. Benjamin Eugene Johnston, magna cum laude. David Kim. Oliver S. Kubik, cum laude. Shireen M. Kurland. Christina M. Maliakos. Theodore William Maselko, magna cum laude. Christopher M. McGregor. Randall E. McIsaac. Malcolm M. Mendez, cum laude. James F. Milliken. Joshua Evan Moore. Srinivas R. Murthy, cum laude. Alexander Morrow. Edward D. McCasey, cum laude. John A. Mena. Michael A. Norris, magna cum laude. Alicia E. Nussbaum. Patrick O. O'Connell, cum laude. Jonathan P. Otterbein. Jeremy P. Pallardi. Christopher R. Rayborg. Sven Fabian Rivera. Wad Salou. Ross E. Schaefer, Emily J. Shearer, cum laude, Terence G. Chanishal, Ekin Ezinwarne Sibedu, Matthew D. Spurbeck, Kyle S. Sprankley, cum laude, Zachary Stillman, Christopher L. Tang, Justin T. Tavares, Rostislaw A. Siomenko, cum laude, Brian C. Vest, cum laude, Theodore A. Walker, Kevin Todd Wiggins, Jacob G. Young, Alan Yu, Jonathan Becker, Kamalaska Brooms, Daniel Cohen, Joseph M. Colombo, Colin R. Daniel, cum laude, Alexander Walter Daniels, Stephen C. Di Benedetto, cum laude, Kevin A. Fisher, Xiaofei He, William B. Heckert, magna cum laude, Joshua B. Hill, Patrick Hay Husson, Zachary Mark Klenk, magna cum laude, Michael J. Metcalf, cum laude, Abdul Mateen Mohammed, Bradley D. Potiger, magna cum laude, Timothy R. Potiger, magna cum laude, Alec M. Polianas, Gordashish Singh, cum laude, Kui Tan. Our next reader will be Dr. Warren DeVries, Dean of the College of Engineering and Information Technology.
Will the faculty in Information Systems please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Chakukawa Vincent Abagarji, Raji, Abdullah Ali, Amrita Anand, Ian K. Anderson, Borna Agaji, Alan D. Arca. No. Michael Thomas Bay, Thomas Daniel Bard, Andrew S. Ballantine, and Garanga R. Barada, Kyle Justin Barnes, Sidney M. Beckett, cum laude, Bernetta Maxine Biggs, Kevin Adam Blusowitz, Patrick L. Brown, Kristen Renee Buckler, Yuri Buha, magna cum laude, Carlo Canassa, magna cum laude, Adam Joseph Carroll, Sarah M. Castellino, cum laude, Katrina C. Chang, cum laude, Eric Choi, Peter W. Choi, cum laude, Mohammed Salam Chowdhury, Alex M. Cook, cum laude, Kirk Andrew Crawford, Michael Stevens Dempsey, Andrea Daness, David Deng, Karen J. Dickens, Handana Deep, Colin Dusterhouse, Candace Simone Elliott, cum laude, Malik Mohammed Farhan, Lindsay Fields, cum laude, Jessica Elora Denise Gauss, Elena Casanova Garachova, Daniel B. German, Nicholas B. Graff, Nigel Graham, Adam C. Hampton, Subham Handa, cum laude, Carol Hanna, Tabitha Averkamp, Deanna L. Higazi, cum laude, Chris P. Halinsky, Min Anderson Yo, cum laude, Thomas A. Hervey, magna cum laude, Charles H. W. Hong, Martell Jefferson, Ryan A. Johnston, Benjamin E. Jolies, Justin Joseph, Roman Oliver T. Ipang, Dinjay Kaba, Alamjit Kuar, Matthew Kurzel, Derek S. Kolianthas, Ashley Lynn Kukalisas, Eric M. Lee, Man C. Lee, Hannah Sarah J. Litch, Anthony Joseph Lucchese, How Live, Bradford B. Menacuso, Sean Matthew, Andrew Moravokolas, Sabrina McConnelly, summa cum laude, Joseph W. McGrath, Michael Stephen McClendon, Courtney J. Melisari, summa cum laude, Patricia B. Minor, Jones Moses, cum laude, Palanda N. Margrat, Rabia Naim, Inyinthia T. Obelaya, Taiwo A. Obodi, Nguyen Dang An, Esther Tosin Oke, Johnny V. Pham, Devang Philip Flung, Ian A. Plitt, Andrew R. Porter, Angelino Ramirez, Zishan A. Rana, Colin P. Rogers, Rigoberto Sanchez, cum laude, Segun Saru, Michael Henry Schramm, Andrew D. Seo, Imram S. Shah, Ian Knight Shefferman, cum laude, Richard P. Sherman, Mark P. Skopek, Adam B. Stein, Joe Nathan Stoner, Manpreet Singh Suri, Ka Leung Si, Van K. Ta, Lionel Nikotu Tabifor, Editi Tenki, Mamando Turi, Andrew Jengju Tsai, Vivian Viswanathan, Clinton W. Walker, Daryl A. White, Brandon Williams, Jamie C. Williams, magna cum laude, Catherine Constance Williams, Tony Yang, Wei Zhang. Our next reader will be Dr. Judah Ranch, Dean of the Erickson School.
Will the faculty in mechanical engineering please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Friatso A. Akiramafor, Nathan Marshall Atkins, Chrysanthus Bandan Bibum, Alexander Barton, Dylan D. Beitzel, Mark William Black, cum laude, Richard O. Blorstad, Francis C. Brown, J.V. Carson, cum laude, Vincent Joseph DeSalvo, cum laude, Courtney R. Dunlap, Annette M. Engelhardt, magna cum laude, Marcus Adam Garcia, cum laude, Christopher T. Now, Julian Christopher Gomez Jordan, Kenneth Harris, Joseph Terranova Hedspeth, magna cum laude, Ty T. Lamb, Stephen Lavenstein, magna cum laude, Julia F. Lopez, Miao Lu, Kyle F. Mock, Fitzhugh Patrick Malloy, Patrick Y. Matsudabegi, Michael Andrew McCarroll, Morgan J. McClure, Timothy McGee, summa cum laude, Paki Frederick Fankam Naha, Alan T. Norman, Robert J. Early, Samuel O. Ogunbo, Jeffrey B. Ostel, Matthew C. Parks, cum laude, Jaheen Patwari, Asan A. Rizvi, Irvin Rodriguez, Jeremy Salkin, Anthony L. Santini, Franklin J. Schaefer, Kabish K. Shah, cum laude, Skylar Singh, cum laude, Eric M. Sluter, cum laude, William Curtis Stone, cum laude, Matthew D. Thompson, cum laude, Omar Vora, Mitchell Zavala, Riju Zhang. Will the faculty and management of aging services please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Uvon C. Ando, Hillary Ann Dykeman, magna cum laude, Marcus Purcell Hockaday, Joseph J. Impalaria, Evan B. Jackson, Nevin Kamal, Shalisa M. Kingston, Augusta A. Osefo, Stephanie N. Stinchcomb, cum laude. Will the faculty in interdisciplinary studies please stand while I read the names of your graduates? Lottie B. Awosika, Vivian C. Chioma, magna cum laude, Jillian Goals, cum laude, Joseph Patrick Kennedy, Rachel O. Kelly, magna cum laude, Randy C. Kimmery, summa cum laude, Elizabeth M. Linnett, cum laude, Shyam G. Patel, magna cum laude, Lillian M. Speaks, cum laude, Suraj A. Vyas. Our next reader will be Dr. Carolyn Tice, Associate Dean of the School of Social Work. With that.
Will the distinguished faculty in social work please stand to greet our graduates? Kathleen Alfrero, Amber Austin, Cynthia Joan Azar, Mark Babacott, Antonia Bailey, Alicia Blakovich, Amy Blanchard, Philip Boyd, summa cum laude, Chelsea Bronze, Aiden Braun Bristol, Amanda N. Brown, Tammy E. Brown, Zach Garber Brown, cum laude, Miriam Cabrera, Melissa A. Charles, cum laude, Brandy Lynn Clayton, cum laude, Edith Rivera, Brenda J. Chavez, Trayvon Cumberbatch, Michaela B. Friedman, magna cum laude, Jara Ashar Gamma Chavez, Shantavia Gathers, Lisa Nineveh, Caitlin Hancock, cum laude, Melissa Hartman, cum laude, Juliet Hong, cum laude, Peter Joseph Jackson, magna cum laude, Ashley Johns, Christine L. Johnson, Sarah Louisa Kimball, cum laude, John Donald Koch, Emily Rose Kaler, Brittany Tashawn Leach, Kara M. Linsky, Limaze Martinez, cum laude, Sarah Debbie Martinez, Marina Mardirino Romero, Dina Morgan, Morel Pfister, cum laude, Caitlin Pura, Cynthia Marie Ratliff, Ashlyn Reynolds, magna cum laude, Laura Jean Alexis Roth, magna cum laude, Mina G. Salma, Daisy Vanessa Sanchez, Jamie E. Schwarzenbeck, Rebecca L. Cedar, cum laude, Caitlin Ashton Schneider, Brittany B. Spencer, magna cum laude, Brittany Lauren Sergel, Emily Nema King Solerud, Giselle Tonino, Gail Denise Brown, Susanna Estelle Villekas, Evan S. Wilson, magna cum laude. Marquise Terrell Wilson. Charlene Denise Moran. Elizabeth Launch, cum laude. Nazim Zilo.
We are almost there, and you have been an amazing group of students, graduates, and families. Give yourselves another round of applause for just being so. At this time, I'd like to ask the graduating seniors in the Camerata, our choir, to proceed to the risers located on your left. The Camerata is under the direction of Dr. Stephen Caracciolo, Assistant Professor of Music, and our valedictorian Travis Bell will be directing the Camerata today in the singing of the alma mater. Also, the UMBC Wind Ensemble has joined us to provide the music for our ceremony. They are directed by Mr. Brian Kaufman, Assistant Professor of Music. Would you congratulate and thank both the choir and the Wind Ensemble, please? I also want to thank Mr. Bennett Moe, who's the president of the UMBC Alumni Association, representing over 60,000 alumni worldwide. He's a 1988 graduate in the Visual and Performing Arts and is now Director of Innovation at Maps.com. Please give him a round of applause. And let me give you my final words. We'll then have the singing of the alma mater. Please remember, when we sing the alma mater, no one is to move. We'll be standing at that time, but out of respect for the university, no one leaves until we finish. We'll have then the recessional that will be led by Dr. Carroll, and then everyone can go and have a lot of fun. So let me give me a few more words. Before I ask you to turn your tassels, graduates, take one final moment to just savor this experience. Think about the ups and downs, the challenges, the questions you had, the doubts, and yet here you are, surrounded by family and friends and faculty. I want you to hear the words of the first president of UMBC, the late Alvin Kuhn, who spoke to the first graduating class in 1970. He said these words: "If you bring to the future the same personal qualities and personal commitment you've brought to this campus as students, good and important things will happen to each of you and to those around you, and the community, the university community, will be proud to have played a part in your lives." And here are my words. After 20-some years as president of this amazing institution, I say these words with great sincerity. I am confident that all of you will make us so proud. Know that if you persevere, and you will reach your goals, though you will be challenged and tested along the way. But just remember that your dreams, and most important, your character, will determine who you will become. Your character will be determined and reflected most clearly in the courage that you possess and in the compassion you show for others. Be true to yourselves and true in your relationships, always reaching out to others to inspire, to elevate. Always know that you will be connected to this university. Remember that this is your home, and you will always be a part of us, and we will be a part of you. Wherever you go, you are UMBC. Class of 2014, you may now turn your tassels. Audience, give them a standing ovation. You helped them out. Give them a standing ovation, audience. They deserve it. And class, you may now stand, and would everyone remain standing as we sing the alma mater led by the Camerata. Remember that the words can be found on the inside back cover of the program. After the singing of the Camerata, Dr. Carroll will lead the recessional, and after that, we would ask that people leave quietly. Thank you all very much. Just one more minute of dignity, and then we can have a lot of fun, all right? Just one more minute of a little dignity, all right?
We ask that everyone please remain standing while the platform party, the faculty, and the graduates have recessed. Families and friends are asked to join their graduates outside of the arena. Congratulations to you all.
time. Here's why. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Hey, go. Bring me down. Can't none like that's what you want to do. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. The love is too high to bring me down. Can't none bring me down. I said, because